Hello, welcome to your practice. This practice is going to be for hip openers. So to work the hips, to work the thighs, we'll also do a few twists that are going to work that mid-back, the thoracic spine. So enjoy this nice hip opening practice. If you have some yoga blocks, that would be great because they're going to help us in some of the poses. If you don't have yoga blocks, that's fine. You can just be propped up high on your fingertips. So if you've got those blocks, just set them aside and have them handy. We're going to get started down on our backs. So come all the way down onto your back. We're going to start with knees bent, feet on the floor, arms at your side. Tuck the chin a little bit to create a little length in the back of the neck. Shoulders relax down. We're just going to take a few nice slow breaths here just to ground us, just to let go of whatever you were doing before you got on your mat. And just breathe into the belly. So inhale, feel your belly expand. Exhale, feel your belly relax. So with the knees bent, feet on the floor, just feel the feet connecting to the earth, to the mat. So they're on the mat, but try to get that energy going down past the mat, past the flooring, past the foundation of the building, down into the earth. So this connection. And the backs of the arms also connecting down with the earth. The palms are up. And just a few nice belly breaths. As you take those belly breaths, we're just going to rock the hips a little side to side. So a little rocking motion. So just gently starting to work on the hips and the thighs and the low back. And just going slowly side to side. Notice when your knees go to the right, how does that feel? When your knees go to the left, how does that feel? Good. And then we're going to bring the knees to center. We're going to hug the knees into the chest, and we'll just roll side to side a couple times. Shoulders and hips roll. You can let the back of the head go the same direction as the knees and the shoulders. So bringing some circulation, some massage, some energy into the muscles of the back body. We'll bring the knees to center. Stretch both feet up to the ceiling. Feet hip width apart, feet flex. We're going to take a little yoga walk. So one knee bends, opposite foot stretches up to the ceiling. Push all the way up through the heel, through the inner arch, through the ball of the foot. So we get a nice stretch on the back of the legs and the front of the legs, these thigh muscles getting some nice work. Let's bring both knees back into the chest. Use your abdominals. Don't let the back arch. We're going to bring the feet down to the floor. Good. With the feet on the floor, rock the hips a little side to side again. We'll bring the knees to center. Inhale. With your exhale, bring the right knee into the chest. We'll have right hand on right knee, and we're going to circle the right knee in one direction. So nice and slow. Doesn't matter how large or small the circles are, as long as you're making them slow and mindful and really kind of feeling that hip joint, the low back, the thigh muscles. Let's go in the opposite direction with the circles. Nice and slow. We'll bring the right knee to center, stretch the right foot up to the ceiling. We'll circle the right ankle in one direction. Let your toes move around a little bit. So important to keep our ankle joint flexible and mobile. Let's take those circles in the opposite direction. And all those muscles and joints in the feet, so our feet carry us around from here to there. We need to make sure that they're flexible and mobile. We're going to point and flex the right foot. So the less flexible that ankle joint is, the more you start to shuffle. And we don't want to shuffle. We want to have nice mobility. Let's keep that right foot flexed. Inhale. With your exhale, bring the right knee back into the chest. Inhale again. With your exhale, we're going to lift our head up towards the right knee, shoulders down. If it feels okay to the left hip and the low back, we can stretch the left leg out on the mat. If you stretch that left leg out, lengthen from the hip all the way down the heel. Left toes will be up towards the ceiling. Waistline presses towards the floor. We're going to take some big breaths here into the low belly.
Keep the shoulders relaxing down away from the ears, neck long. You can always bring one hand behind the head to support the neck. Big breaths. Inhale, lower the head. We'll bring right foot to the mat. Both knees bend, both feet on the floor. We'll rock the hips side to side. Bring the knees to center. Inhale. With your exhale, left knee comes in. We'll have left hand on left knee, and we're going to circle that left knee nice and slow in one direction. So now working on this left hip, left thigh. We can feel the low back on the mat, getting some work. It doesn't matter, again, how big or small the circles are. Just be mindful. Take it slow. Notice what you might be feeling. We're going to take those circles in the opposite direction. Keeping these hips nice and mobile as well. They can get really stiff. Let's bring the left knee to center. Stretch the left foot up to the ceiling. We'll circle the left ankle. Let those toes wiggle around a little bit. So yeah, keeping the muscles and joints in the foot and the ankle nice and mobile and flexible. Let's take those circles in the opposite direction. That really helps us with our balance. So balance is a key thing. So keeping that foundation all the way from the foot to the ankle into the legs, keeping it nice and mobile. And let's point and flex the left foot. Nice stretch in the calf, in the arch. A little bit into the hamstring. Keep the left foot flexed. Inhale. With your exhale, we'll bring left knee back into the chest. Inhale. With your exhale, we'll lift our head up towards the left knee, shoulders down, neck long. You can always bring one hand behind the head to support the neck. And if it feels okay to the right hip and to your low back, you can stretch that right leg out. Lengthen from the right hip all the way down the right leg, through the right heel, right toes up towards the ceiling. Keep the waistline pressing towards the floor. We don't want to arch the low back. Big breaths into the low belly. Inhale, lower the head. We'll bring left foot to the mat. Both knees bend, both feet on the floor. Rock the hips side to side. Good. Bring the knees to center. We're going to go into a figure 4 pose for the hips. So keep the left knee bent, left foot on the floor. We'll bring right ankle to left knee. Right foot is flexed, and we'll gently move that right knee away from the body. So you can either use your right hand to gently move the right knee and thigh away, or the right knee and thigh can move away on its own resistance to the left leg. So whichever way you get a better stretch in that right hip. We'll just hold, take a couple breaths here. Breathe into that right hip. Keep the right foot flexed, right knee moving away from the body. Inhale. With your exhale, bring both knees into the chest. So we'll wrap the hands around the back of the left thigh. Use your right elbow to press the right thigh away. Both feet stay flexed to protect the knees. And now we get this big stretch on the outer right hip and thigh. If it feels better, you can hold left leg with left hand, right leg with right hand. So whatever feels best to the upper body and to the hips. A couple big breaths into that outer right hip, thigh, glute area. Good. Nice and slow. We're going to bring the left foot down to the floor. We're going to bring the right foot down to the floor. Once again, we'll rock the hips side to side, just keeping them loose. Keep a little movement, letting them relax. Knees come to center. We'll do all that on the other side. So left ankle comes to right knee, left foot flexed. We're going to move that left thigh, left knee away, either using the left hand to assist that, or it can just move away on its own resistance to the right leg. A couple big breaths into that left hip, wherever you feel it the most. Inhale. With your exhale, we're going to bring both knees into the chest. You can wrap the hands around the back of the right thigh. Use your left elbow to press left thigh away. Both feet are flexed. That helps protect our knees. Big breaths into this outer left hip, thigh, glute. You can also hold each leg with each hand if that feels better. Big breaths into the low belly. Keep moving that left knee, left thigh away. Make sure your chin didn't pop up towards the ceiling. So keep that length in the back of the neck. You tuck the chin just a little bit. Nice and slow, we're going to bring the right foot down to the mat, left foot down to the mat. One at a time, we'll stretch the legs out. We'll let the front of the hips open, back of the knees open. Reach both arms up overhead. Reach your right side a little longer, left side a little longer. Get your hips and legs moving a little bit on the mat. So we're stretching the whole body, not just moving from the waist up. We're stretching all the way from the feet up through the fingertips. And we'll bring everything to center. Arms come down by your side. Let's bend the knees, feet on the floor, roll over onto your side, either side, and come up into hands and knees table pose. If you're on hard floor and you need a little extra padding under the knees, grab a blanket or grab a towel. We're going to be in hands and knees table pose. So wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Your fingers are spread nice and wide, index fingers parallel with each other. We're going to go into our cat-cow breath. So exhale, round the spine up, tuck the chin, pull your belly button up. Inhale, tilt the hips, arch the back, let the belly stretch, slide the shoulders down the back. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. So you're just moving the spine these two opposite directions, moving the body with breath. Exhale when you round the spine up, and inhale when you arch. See what your range of motion is at this point of your day. How far up can you round? How far can you stretch that belly and slide the shoulders back? On your next exhale, shift back into child's pose. Big toes barely touching, knees separate apart, and let the forehead come down to rest. I usually like to stack my hands on top of each other, rest my forehead on my hands, but if you rather have your forehead resting on the mat or on a block, do what feels best to that upper back. Try to let that upper back and the shoulder blades spread apart. Sometimes when we stretch the hands too far forward, we're creating a lot of tension in the upper back. So try to let that upper back relax. Breathe into the low back, into the ribs, into the shoulders. From child's pose, we're going to go into downward dog. Stretch the hands as far forward as they'll go. Elbows are up off the mat. Come up into your hands and knees table. Bring those knees a little closer together. Take a look at the hands. Fingers spread nice and wide. Index fingers parallel with each other. Curl the toes under. Inhale with your exhale. Lift up, shift back. Downward dog. Spread the toes out on the mat. We're going to walk it out. Lower one heel, then the other heel. So we get this nice stretch in the arches, in the calves, in the hamstrings. Keep the chin tucking, looking towards your feet. We don't want to look forward towards the hands. We want that length in the back of the neck. Belly button pulls in and up towards the spine to support the back. We're going to come down to knees, shift back into child's pose. Take a couple breaths. Let the wrists relax, fingers wiggle a little. Bring that circulation back into the hands. Wobble hips and shoulders a little side to side. Good. Come back up into your hands and knees table. We're going to go into a lunge. So here, if you've got those blocks, grab your yoga blocks. We're going to put them in the medium setting at the front of the mat. If you don't have yoga blocks, you'll be high up on fingertips to give you a little bit of openness in the chest. So we're going to take the right foot between the hands or between the blocks. We want our right knee over our right heel. Pick up the left knee and you're going to scoot it back as far as it will go behind that left hip. Just make sure that right knee stays over right heel. We're feeling a big stretch in the front of this left hip and thigh, so just a couple breaths there. Good. Inhale, with your exhale, we're going to lean back and bow towards the right knee. Tuck the chin, so we're rounding the spine, we're tucking the chin, we're getting a big stretch in the back of the right leg. Your right toes can lift or right toes can stay down on the mat, whatever gives you a better stretch in the back of the right leg. We'll take a few breaths with movement. So inhale, come forward, chin lifts, spine long. Exhale, round back, tuck the chin. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, shifting back. Good. One more. Inhale, forward. Exhale, rounding back. Good. This time when you're forward, make sure right knee stays over right ankle. We're going to go into a little twist. So you're either high up on fingertips with that left hand or left hand's on a block. Right hand comes to the right hip. Inhale, with your exhale, we're going to turn to the right. Pull that right thigh in towards the belly. So we get a little compression on that right side of the low belly. Big breaths. Let that right shoulder relax. And if it feels okay, bring the right hand, right fingertips to the back of the left thigh. So just a little more opening of that shoulder, a little more twist. Big breaths. Inhale, bring the right hand forward. We're going to lean back and bring that right knee back by the left. We'll swish the hips a little side to side. Bring the hips to center, and we're going to bring the left foot between the hands or between the blocks, left knee right over the left heel. Pick up that right knee, scoot it as far back behind the right hip as it can go, so we get this nice stretch on the front of the right hip and thigh. A couple breaths here. Inhale. With your exhale, we're going to lean back, bow towards the left knee, round the spine, tuck the chin. Left toes can lift or they can stay down. Couple breaths here into the back of this left leg. Now we're going to move with breath. Inhale, come forward, chin lifts, spine long. Exhale, rounding back, tuck the chin. Inhale, coming forward. Make sure that left knee doesn't go past the heel when you come forward. Exhale, lean back. We'll take one more of those. Inhale, come forward, long spine, long neck. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin. Good. This time when you're forward, stay forward. Left knee over left heel. Right hand stays on the block or you're high up on right fingertips. Bring left hand to the left hip. Inhale. With your exhale, we're going to turn to the left. So twist, we always turn with our exhale. Good. Big breaths. That left thigh comes in towards the belly. So when we inhale, we can feel our belly press into that left thigh. Left hand can stay on the hip, or bring your left fingertips to the back of that right thigh. Just a little more opening of that shoulder and a little deepening of the twist. Big breaths. Good. Inhale, come forward, bring that left hand forward. Lean back a little bit and bring that left knee back by the right. Take a little free-form movement here. So you can round and arch. You can shift the hips side to side. You can bring those hips a little forward, especially if you have blocks. You can bring those hips a little forward. And then shift back into child's pose. Just a couple of breaths. Big toes barely touching. Knees separate a little wide. Let that forehead rest. A couple breaths into the low back, into the ribs, into the shoulders. Good. You're going to make your way back up to hands and knees, back into a lunge. And we're going to go into lizard pose. So I'm going to turn this way for a moment so you can see lizard pose. So we're going to bring that right foot between the hands or between the blocks. Right knee stays over right heel. Just like we did before, that left knee is going to scoot way back. And then you're going to bring the right block next to the left block. You're going to start to walk that right foot out. You can recenter those blocks a little. That right foot walks out towards the outside edge of your mat. Right toes are going to point out. You let that right knee open out to the right. Good. A couple big breaths here. So it's a big opening for the hip and thigh. We're going to bring right hand to right knee. Inhale. With your exhale, we're going to turn to the right. So we get this nice big stretch on that left side, especially the left psoas muscle. Couple big breaths here. Relax that right shoulder down. Good. Inhale, come forward. Bring that right hand back to the block. And then we're going to start to walk the right foot in and bring that right block or right hand to the outside of the right foot. We're going to shift back, bring the right knee back by the left. Good. And then left foot will come forward between the hands or between the blocks. Left knee over left heel. So if you don't have blocks, you're going to be high up on fingertips.
We're going to take that left hand, bring it on the inside, start to walk that left foot out. Left toes are going to point out a little bit. You're high up on those left fingertips. That right knee is way back behind right hip. Left hand comes to left knee. Inhale. With your exhale, you're going to turn to the left. So a big stretch on that right side. Big breaths into the low belly. Good. And then inhale. Come back to center. Start to walk that left foot in. Left hand will come on the outside of the left foot. Lean back. Bring that left foot back. And take a few, shift those hips side to side. So just a little bit of shifting side to side, or some free form movement. You can round and arch, a little bit of cat-cow, just to keep everything loose. Good, and then shift back into child's pose. You can set those blocks aside if you were using blocks. Shift back into child's pose, just a couple breaths. Breathe especially into that low back area. We're going to lower all the way down onto our belly for Sphinx pose. So come all the way down onto the belly. You're going to be on your elbows. And your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Palms are on the floor. Fingers spread nice and wide. Feet are a little bit apart, so the feet are not together. And isometrically, press the palms, press the elbows down into the mat, and isometrically slide the elbows back towards your hips. Squeeze shoulder blades together as if you're trying to drag yourself forward, and only your arms are assisting you. The legs, the lower body is not. Good. Pubic bone presses down into the floor just a little bit. Tops of the feet press into the floor just a little bit. Neck is long, and keep isometrically pulling those elbows back. Good. Inhale. With your exhale, we're going to lower down. Widen those elbows out. Stack your hands and rest your forehead on the hands. Let's bend the knees, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Bring both feet to the right, both feet to the left. And just kind of windshield wiper those feet side to side. Just to loosen up the hips, low back, thighs. Good. Bring the feet to center. Lower the feet down to the mat. So we're going to go into a pose that's called Matsya Kridasana. It translates to flapping fish pose. So we're going to do the right side first. I'm going to turn this way so you can see my right side. We're going to kind of start in that Sphinx pose, and you're going to take your right knee out to the right. Try to look at your right knee. Try to line up right knee with right hip and right ankle with right knee. So we kind of have a 90-degree angle there on that right hip. And then we'll lower down. Let's stack the hands. Rest our forehead on the hands. And just letting that right thigh, right hip open out. Couple of breaths here. And then curl the left toes under. Lift the left knee up. And push that left heel away from you. So we get this opening on the right side, but we also get a nice stretch on that left hip. Big breaths into the low belly. Good, then relax that left leg, left toes down. Prop yourself up into Sphinx pose. So keep that right knee out to the right. We're in Sphinx pose. So elbows under, shoulders, palms flat on the floor. And we're not going to isometrically pull the elbows back. We're just going to hold here and breathe. So we feel a big stretch on that left side. That left psoas muscle is getting a stretch. That right hip's getting a stretch. Neck is long. So you're kind of looking at the front of your mat or at your hands. We're not looking straight ahead because we don't want to crease the back of the neck. And then lower, widen those elbows, lower down. We're going to curl the left toes under and bring that right knee in. Good. Bend both knees, toes pointing up towards the ceiling, and bring both feet to the right, both feet to the left, just a little windshield wiper of the feet. Good. Knees to center, lower the feet down. We're going to do the other side. So prop yourself up a little bit. That left knee is going to go out to the left. Try to line up left knee with left hip and left ankle with left knee. And then we'll lower down, stack the hands on top of each other, rest your forehead. Curl your right toes under, lift that right knee up.
And we're feeling a big stretch in that right side, right hip, but also an opening of the left hip and thigh. Big breaths here. Good, relax the right toes down. Prop yourself up into Sphinx pose for the upper body. Shoulders are over the elbows, palms flat on the floor. Breathing here, breathe into both sides. So that right waistline, you can probably feel it, that right psoas muscle, and then that opening of that left hip and thigh. Good, widen the elbows out, lower yourself down, curl the right toes under, and then nice and slow, bring that left knee back in. Now, adjust hips so you're even, curl both toes under, push the heels away and lift the knees up off the floor. So a big stretch in the arches, big stretch in the legs and in the hips. Couple breaths into the low belly. Slide the hands under the shoulders, lift yourself up into hands and knees table, and we're gonna take 3 cat breaths. So wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're gonna exhale, round, inhale, arch, exhale, round, inhale, arch. We're gonna take 1 more of those. Exhale, round the spine, inhale, arch, come to neutral. We're gonna curl the toes under and walk the hands back till you're in squat pose. We're gonna come all the way up to standing. So lift the hips up, lower the heels, widen your feet a little wider than the hips. Bring hands up to above the knees, lift the chest into a halfway lift. Keep a little bend in the knees, squeeze the shoulder blades together, belly pulls in and up with strong legs, long spine. You're gonna hinge up all the way up to standing. Good, adjust the clothing, shake out arms, shake out legs a little bit. We're gonna take a few little side swings. So separate the feet a little wider than the hips, and you're gonna let that opposite heel lift. So a few little side swings, shoulders relax, arms floppy, belly pulls in and up. So this helps to relax and release that inner thigh and hips as well, tones the waistline, and helps relax the shoulders. So we don't want to hold that tension in the shoulders. We don't want the arms flying out like this. That holds tension all in the upper back, which we don't need. We get enough of that all during the day. So let those arms be floppy, as if you have a sweater draped over your shoulders, but your arms aren't in the sweaters, and you're swinging side to side, and the arms of the sweater are just swinging around. This also helps lower blood pressure. So it's just a great little practice, great little pose. Bring everything to center. We're gonna go into goddess pose with a little twist. So let's take a wide leg stance on the mat. Toes are gonna point out. You're gonna bend the knees. So bring your heels in maybe just a little bit. Press on the outside edges of the feet and lift your arches. Knees are opening wide and our shoulders are stacked up over our hips. There's a little tuck to the tailbone, so your bottom's not sticking back behind you. Little tuck to the tailbone, belly scoops in and up, shoulders relax down, hands on the knees. So let those arches lift, legs strong. We're working hips and inner thighs here. We're gonna go into a little twist. Keep the hands on the knees. Inhale. With your exhale, bring that right shoulder forward and over to the left. So a little twist, and take those hands to the knees and press those knees out. So opening the knees and thighs. Right shoulder moves to the left. Neck is long, spine is long. So we're not rounding the spine. Big breaths into the low belly. Good. Inhale, come back to center and bring those shoulders back over the hips so that tailbone tucks a little bit, heart lifts a little bit. Hands on the knees. We're going to go the other way. Make sure those arches are lifting and they're not collapsing and rolling down. Knees open wide. Hands on the knees. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to bring that left shoulder forward and twisting over to the right. Now use the hands on the knees and thighs and open those knees wide. Big breath, long neck, long spine. Breathe into the low belly. Nice and slow. Inhale, come back to forward and bring those shoulders back over the hips, little tuck of the tail, heart is lifting. Let's
Open the arms to shoulder level. Turn the palms forward. Bend your elbows for goddess. Good. Bring those elbows nice and back, far behind you. Belly scoops in and up. Nice and strong, nice and slow. We're going to lower the arms and straighten the legs. Heel toe the feet in. Good. A few of those little side swings. So let that opposite heel lift, arms floppy, belly pulls in and up. Good. Nice and slow. Let that slow down. We're going to come all the way down to our mat. Come down to sitting with the knees bent, feet in front of you. Hands on the knees. We'll take a few seated cat breaths. So inhale, sit tall. Let those shoulders lower down. That's an inhale. And then exhale, we're going to round back. Tuck the chin, arms go straight, belly pulls in towards the spine. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, round back. So it's the same motion that we do on hands and knees for cat. We're just doing it in a seated position. Exhale when you round back. Inhale when you sit tall. When you sit tall, you can let the knees open a little wider. That might give you a little bit more length in the spine. Good. Next time you're sitting tall, stay tall. We're going to come all the way down onto our back. So center yourself on the mat. Come down to the back. Hug the knees into the chest. We're going to roll side to side. Shoulders and hips roll. You can let the back of the head roll as well. Just kind of ironing out that back body. Bring everything to center. Use your abdominals. Don't let your back arch. You're going to bring the feet down to the mat. We're going to go into a little pelvic tilt. So knees bent, feet under the hip, knees bent, knees over the heels, arms at your side, palms up. We're going to inhale, press your tailbone down into the mat, waistline lifts up. Exhale, press your waistline down. So just rocking the hips a little forward and back. Inhale, tailbone presses down. Exhale, waist presses down. Nice and slow. So slow down your breath and make that movement match the breath. So we're slowing down the movement a little bit. Good. Come to neutral. We're going to go up, lift up into bridge pose. We'll lift up into bridge with our breath. So knees bent, knees over your heels, feet about hip width apart. Inhale first. Exhale, press your waistline down into the mat. Inhale, lead with the tailbone, lift up nice and slow, one vertebra at a time. Weight even on both feet. Now bend your elbows, bring those elbows in towards your waist, towards your side. Palms face each other, fingertips up towards the ceiling. Squeeze, tuck the shoulder blades under a little bit. Let's spread those fingers. I call this robot arms. So press the backs of the arms, those triceps into the floor. Press the tops of the shoulders into the floor to open up that upper back a little bit. So it helps us to arch. Knees stay parallel. Don't let them go out into a V position. Imagine you have one of those yoga blocks between the knees. Belly soft. Don't let it puff up. Don't let it tense up. Bottom slightly firm. Big breaths into the belly. We're going to lower down with breath. So keep your arms the way they are. Inhale first. Exhale, nice and slow. Lower the spine down one vertebra at a time. Don't let your bottom touch down before your waist touches down. Once your hips are all the way down, hug the knees into the chest. We're going to roll side to side. Shoulders and hips roll. Awesome. Bring your knees to center. We're going to go into happy baby pose. So open the knees wide. Arms come on the inside of the knees. Lift your feet up towards the ceiling. You're going to hold outer calves, outer ankles, or outside edges of the feet. The feet are going to be flexed. So imagine you're holding a tray with each foot. So the bottoms of the feet up towards the ceiling. We want our ankles lined up over our knees. The knees are moving out wide and the knees are moving down towards the floor. So we get this big stretch on the inner hip and thigh. Hold here and breathe. So you can always hold the calves, the ankles, or the outside edges of the feet. Just keep those feet flexed with ankles over knees.
gonna get a little traction in the low back. So press your tailbone down into the floor, press the tops of the shoulders down into the floor, and try to arch your waistline up off the mat just a little bit. Good, and then relax the whole back, and we'll roll side to side. Keep those feet wide, rolling side to side. Keep those ankles lined up over the knees. Good, bring the feet to center, lower your feet and bring the toes together. And you can still hold the ankles or the feet. Keep those knees wide, and we'll roll a little side to side. So this is like a cobbler's pose. Bottoms of the feet together, knees open as we rock a little side to side. Good. Everything comes to center. Let go of the feet or the legs. Use your abdominals. We're going to bring the feet down to the mat. One at a time, stretch the legs out. Let the front of the hips open, back of the knees open. Let's stretch both arms up overhead. Reach the right side a little longer, left side a little longer. Stretch the whole side body. So get the hips and legs moving. We're not just stretching from the waist up. We're stretching the body all the way from the feet to the fingers. So that whole connective tissue, that whole fascia train, we're getting a big stretch. Arms come to center. Let's bring arms down by your side. We're going to set up for final relaxation. So center yourself on the mat. So options, knees can be bent, knees apart, feet apart. Knees can be bent with knees together, feet a little wide. That's called constructive rest, really nice for the low back. You can be in cobbler's pose, bottoms of the feet together, knees open. You could take blocks or cushions and put on the outside edges of the thighs for support. You can have the legs stretched out. You can have a blanket roll or blocks under the knees or thighs. So whatever might feel best for your lower body, set up for that. And then your upper body, get comfortable. Arms at your side, palms up. You can even have arms in a T position. You could be in cactus arms. So whatever might feel good to your upper body. I'm going to go with legs stretched out and cactus arms. Make sure the chin didn't pop up towards the ceiling, so tuck the chin slightly, a little length in the back of the neck. Just let the body relax. So we've moved, we've twisted, we work the hips, the thighs. We work that mid-back, the thoracic area of the back a little bit. So now just time to take on stillness. Feel the breath, tune in with the breath. Inhale, feel your belly rise. Exhale, feel your belly fall. So nothing else to do for the next few moments. Make any little adjustments to get a little more comfortable. Eyes relax, jaw relaxes, ears relax, throat relaxes, shoulders relax, arms relax. The whole back relaxes, upper back, mid back, low back. Chest and ribs relax, belly soft. Belly rises with the inhale, falls with the exhale. Hips, pelvis, legs relax. Hands and fingers, feet and toes relax. Try not to hold any tension anywhere in the body. Nice slow inhales, nice slow exhales. All is well. You've taken some time to move your body, stretch the body, twist the body, connect with the breath, body, mind, breath, all connected, all joined. All is well. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Bring some movement to arms, legs. Nice and slow, we're gonna roll over onto one side. Take a couple breaths there on your side. And then use your strong arms, nice and slow, come all the way up to seated. Sit comfortably. I like to sit on a block usually. So you can sit cross-legged, kneeling, feet out in front of you, but always try to have the tailbone moving back slightly. Keep that nice little curve in the low back. Heart lifts slightly. Belly pulls in and up slightly. Let the shoulders relax down. Feel that breath. Let it come into the low belly. We'll bring palms together, thumbs at the heart. Feel the right palm, left palm meeting at heart center. And this ends our class. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time on my channel. Give it a thumbs up, send it to someone, share it with someone, check out some of my other videos, and enjoy the rest of your day or night, whatever it holds for you. Bye.